So tonight we're going to be talking about how Valentine's Day actually came to be. So you may have heard that Valentine's Day has its true origins in a pre-Christian festival called Lupercalia. But the details of how our contemporary holiday of commercialized romance began as a Bronze Age rite celebrating the primordial power of Canis Lupus, the great wolf, is not widely known. The story of Valentine's Day begins with the legend of King Lycaon, the wolfish one. According to Ovid's Metamorphoses, Lycaon was a primitive lord of Arcadia during the earliest eras when humans walked the earth, a time when the constellations had been hidden for a long time in dark fog and began to blaze out throughout the whole sky. Lycaon was among the worst of the bad of his lot. His infamous crime was to attempt to trick the god Zeus into eating the limbs of a dismembered child to test his all-knowing ability. But Zeus, the king of the gods, was not fooled. In Zeus's words, immediately as those limbs were placed on the table, then I brought down the roof on the household gods with my avenging flames, those gods worthy of such a master. It is said that Lycaon himself ran in terror, and reaching silent fields howled aloud, unable to speak. So how does this macabre tale connect to Valentine's Day? Mount Lycaon is otherwise known as Wolf Mountain, the mighty peak in Arcadia, where King Lycaon was thought to have been transformed into a wolf, became the site of a secret ritual honoring the wolf Zeus, during which adolescent boys celebrated the symbolic transformation between wolf and man. Modern archaeology has revealed that this mountain was a religious center long before the name Zeus was even known in Greece. In 2008, it was announced that ritual activity dating back from 3000 BCE was evident at the site. The wolf rites of Mount Lycaon appear to have been the direct inspiration for the more famous Roman holiday of Lupercalia. This festival, which spanned from February 13th to the 15th, was a true fertility rite intended to purify and protect the city of Rome. Maggie?
Lupercalia was an ancient pagan festival held each year in Rome on February 15th. Although Valentine's Day shares its name with the martyred Christian saint, most historians believe the holiday is an offshoot of Lupercalia. Unlike Valentine's Day, however, Lupercalia was a bloody, violent, and sexually charged celebration awash with animal sacrifice, random matchmaking, and coupling in the hopes of warding off evil spirits and infertility. According to Roman legends, the ancient king Aemilius ordered Romulus and Remus, his twin nephews and founders of Rome, to be thrown into the Tiber River to drown in retribution for their mother's broken vow of celibacy. A servant took pity on them, however, and placed them inside a basket on the river instead. The river god carried the basket and the brothers downriver to a wild fig tree where it became caught in the branches. The brothers were then rescued and cared for by the she-wolf in a den at the base of the Palatine Hill where Rome was founded. The twins were later adopted by a shepherd and his wife and learned their father's trade. After killing the uncle who'd ordered their death, they found the cave den of the she-wolf who nurtured them and named it Lupercal. It's thought Lupercalia took place to honor the she-wolf and please the Roman fertility god Lupercus.
Lupercalia rituals took place in a few places: Lupercal Cave on Palatine Hill, and within the Roman open-air public meeting places. The festival began at Lupercal Cave with the sacrifice of one or more male goats, a representation of sexuality, and a dog. The sacrifices were performed by Luperci, a group of Roman priests. Afterward, the foreheads of two naked Luperci were smeared with the animal's blood using the bloody sacrificial knife. The blood was then removed with a piece of milk-soaked wool as the Luperci laughed.
Two young noble boys were then brought into the cave to do something that creeped the hell out of the Christians, who ended up banning this festival. No surprise. The priest would touch their knives to the heads of the boys, staining the boys' heads with blood. Then the priest would dip the wool in milk and rub it on the boys' heads. That was kind of strange, but what really made this unnerving was what came next. With milk and blood streaking down their heads, the boys were required to feign laughter. After this, though, came the main event. The priest would make leather thongs out of the goats. The boys would strip naked, and the real games would begin. Oh boy.
Feasting soon began after the ritual sacrifice. When the feast of Lupercalia was over, the Luperci cut strips, also called thongs or fobra, of goat hide from the newly sacrificed goats. The same men would then run up and down through the city naked and covered in oil, striking those that they met with their shaggy thongs. The lower classes were not allowed to do this. Only the highest ranking and most dignified men in the city were allowed to take part.
Love that 1%.
Yep. People like Mark Antony would strip naked, oil up, and run down the streets. Once they were good and oily, they'd run around hitting people with their shaggy thongs. They'd target women who would pretend to run from it, but secretly the women would try to get hit with the thongs because it was believed that if you did get hit with one, you would become more fertile. So women would bare their backs and offer up their hands in hopes that naked, oily men would whip them. Those tongues, by the way, were called February, and that is where we named this month. The entire month of February is named after magical potency thongs.
Oh my.
So, thanks to St. Valentine's reputation as a patron of lovers, he became synonymous with romance. In the late 5th century AD, Pope Gelasius I eliminated the pagan celebration of Lupercalia and declared February 14th a day to celebrate the martyrdom of St. Valentine instead, although it's highly unlikely he intended the day to commemorate love and passion. In fact, some modern biblical scholars warn Christians not to celebrate Valentine's Day at all, since it's thought to be based on pagan rituals. Valentine's Day uses some of Lupercalia's symbols, intentionally or not, such as the color red, which represented a blood sacrifice during Lupercalia, and the color white, which signified the milk used to wipe the blood clean and represents new life and procreation.
In some parts of Rome, they would take the whole fertility ritual a bit further. Eligible young women hoping to get pregnant would write their names on clay tablets and place the tablets in a jar. Then the men would draw a name at random. Two completely random strangers would be hooked up and be together for the rest of the festival. Some of the details on this are a bit vague and inconsistent, but it seems like these two weren't just going on a blind date. The man was there to make the woman's dream of having a baby a reality. Exactly how long they stuck together seems to vary. Some say they just spent the festival together, but according to others, those two would be sexual partners for the next year.
A year. A whole year. Here's a random person. Enjoy. Okay.
Sounds like fun.
All right. The last Lupercalia was held at the end of the 5th century.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. By then, Christianity had taken over Rome, and Lupercalia was one of the few Roman holidays that was still being celebrated. Pope Gelasius ended it, though declaring that it was a pagan ritual full of blood sacrifice that glorified sex. By the time most of these acts in the ritual had been stopped anyway, but it did not matter to the Pope. Although we didn't know all the details of how it was celebrated in the 5th century, we do know that the Pope challenged the Romans who complained to actually do that, running around naked part, and none were willing to do it.
The Romans were not too happy about losing a festival, so a new festival came into existence, Valentine's Day. Well, technically, the Pope replaced Lupercalia with the slightly less popular Feast of the Purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary, but eventually it became Valentine's Day. The holiday got the name St. Valentine's Day because people named Valentine had a very strange habit of dying on or around February 14th. 2 separate Valentines had already died on that date, so they created St. Valentine's Day, a day to remember a saint who got beheaded. Over the next 1,500 years, some things have changed. Instead of putting their names in jars, women now get cards. Instead of hitting women with leather thongs, men give them flowers. But the holiday we celebrate today got its start here. Lupercalia does embodify some important symbols though. The wolf, purification, Pan, the shepherd, and lots of dancing. The ancient festival Lupercalia is observed February 13th through the 15th to purify the community and send evil spirits packing. This festival is meant to cloak its people in health and fertility through the coming spring. Lupercalia is also a festival to honor Lupa, the she-wolf of mythology that raised the orphan founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. The wolf symbolizes family, learning, cooperation, insight, stealth, strength, leadership, loyalty, freedom, individuality, psychic energy connected to the moon and hidden wisdom, sharing of knowledge and wisdom, cunning, hunting, seeking, introspection, magic, and dreams. So tonight, we are going to take part in a more modern day Lupercalia ritual. Hopefully at home you have your red hearts and your pencils. So Amethyst, if you could give out our red hearts and pencils. I'm going to ask everyone to take a moment to think about what you may want to let go of. 1 or 2 things to put on your heart. This will be personal, between you and your higher selves only, so feel free to be open and honest. Hold on to your hearts. We will submerge the hearts in blessed water during the ritual, sending our will out into the universe.
What I want to let go.
Yes, what you want to let go. And also, when you put something on your heart that you want to let go, please remember that nothing works in a void. So be realistic and make sure that it is something that you can also put an effort forth into making happen. All right, so if everyone is ready, let's stand in a circle.
If anybody wants to.
East is that.
East is that what I'm saying. Okay, we're getting ready to start, so. There we go.
So we will begin this evening by cleansing or casting our circle. Carl?
Yes. Small space.
I cast the circle thrice about to keep unwanted guests out. Everybody squeeze in, tight into the circle. Cast,
This circle like
I
squash.
cast this circle thrice about to keep unwanted spirits out. Cast this circle thrice about to keep unwanted spirits out. Yep. I cast this circle thrice about to keep unwanted spirits out. Cast this circle thrice about to keep unwanted spirits out. Cast this circle thrice about to keep unwanted spirits out. Cast this circle thrice about to keep unwanted spirits out. Cast this circle thrice about to keep unwanted spirits out.
Let us begin by calling our quarters, starting in the east.
Guardians of the East, powers of air, you who are of breath and creativity, great wolf who lives within the great breeze, we call upon you and invite your presence to witness this rite. By the power of the air, we bring about our desires. So mote it be.
So
mote it be.
Guardians of the south, powers of fire, you who are of passion and the hearth, great wolves who live within the coals of the fire, we call upon you and invite you into our presence to witness this rite. By the power of fire, we bring about our desires. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Guardians of the West, powers of water, you are of intention and mutability. Great wolf who plays with the undying, we call upon you and invite your presence to witness this rite. By the power of water, we bring about our desires. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Guardians of the North, powers of earth, you are of strength and stability. Great wolf who has lived upon the land for centuries, we call upon you and invite your presence to witness this rite. By the power of earth, we bring about our desires. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Lupa, mother, she-wolf, we call to you to nurture and guide us in the coming year. So mote it be.
So
So
mote it be. Lupercus, God of shepherds, we call to you, join us, watch over us in this year to come. So mote it be.
Pan, come to our circle and share our celebration. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Be. We gather tonight to ask for your hand in purification and blessings for the coming year. Encircle us as we set ourselves free of what holds us back. Join us after our work is finished to celebrate and make merry. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Now it is time to set our hearts to work. Have our hearts. We will submerge them one at a time into the bowl of blessed water while saying, I banish you with the power of water, so be it. Water, so be it. Carl, why don't you start?
Okay. I banish you with the power of water. So be it.
I banish you with the power of water, so be it.
I banish you with the power of water, so be it.
I banish you with the power of water, so be it.
I banish you with the power of water, so be it.
I banish you with the power of water, so be it.
I banish you with the power of water, so be it.
I banish you with the power of water, so be it.
I banish you with the power of water, so be it.
We will now hold all the wet hearts down in the bowl with the stone. The water will be given to the earth, and by doing so, all our desires will flow out into the universe. Carl will then take the wet hearts and feed them to the grove fire pit, thereby sending our desires once more out to the universe, once again in the form of smoke. We will now honor Lupercus, and the wolves with music and howling.
May you never hunger. Thank you. For thirst.
May we never thirst.
May we
never thirst.
May we never hunger.
May we
May we
never
never hunger.
Hunger. One last final howl. So we will begin to close our circle, starting in the north.
Guardians of the North, wolves of the earth, we thank you for your solid presence here tonight. Stay if you will, go if you must. Farewell and blessed be.
Farewell and blessed be.
And the west.
Guardians of the West, wolves of water, we thank you for your soothing presence here tonight. Stay if you will, go if you must. Farewell and blessed be.
Farewell and blessed be.
Guardians of the South, wolves of fire, we thank you for your energetic presence here tonight. Stay if you will, go if you must. Farewell and blessed be.
Farewell and blessed be.
Guardians of the East, wolves of air, we thank you for your whispered presence here tonight. Stay if you will, go if you must. Farewell and blessed be.
Farewell and blessed be.
Lupercus, Pan, we thank you for your presence here this night. Until we meet again, blessed be.
Blessed be.
As above, so below, as within, so without, I now release this sacred space. May we always meet in love and trust. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
And love it light.
In love and light.
And love and
Love and
light.
light.
Sorry.
So mote it be.
I was gonna go there.